This morning I've been listening to some old school Detroit Techno, you know, the Jaun Atkins, Derrick May, Underground Resistance, all that kind of stuff. So I really want to see if I could get something, a little kind of cool musical idea down. I've got the 909 ready here. So, you know, this is a classic drum machine they used to use back in the day. You can hear a little preview of the sounds there. And I'm going to set up a clip and just going to get this down with the 4 to the floor, kick on every beat. Let's get that running. And I'm going to call it 909. Going to rename that just kick, and I'll build up the drums, do something else, but I want to see if I can get a little bassline vibe down. Instruments now, operator is a good choice. I'll tell you why, because the old school guys used to use FM synths quite a lot, and operator isn't FM synth. Now I've got the plugs folder open here because some of the old sounds, they weren't actually bass sounds as such, they were plugged sounds that were played lower. So if we take a listen, let's put the audition back on. The pluck, the simple, you know, these two potentially. Let me just bring this one in. I'm going to take it down on the keyboard on the lower octaves. No, that one's not so good. Let me try this pluck here. Yeah, something along those lines I think is going to be good. So what I'll do is I'll get something down, but let's make it a bit more interesting with a MIDI effect. And this is going to give us some rhythmic movement with the Arpeggiator. So when I hold down the key, it's rhythmically triggering, and I'm going to take the rate to 16s. So maybe something like that, I don't know. Let me just get this down. So I was deliberately trying to get some space there. I didn't want it triggering it all the time. And I'm just going to check on my quantize settings. Okay, so it's only the beginning of the notes that's going to be quantized. That's good. I didn't want the ends to be quantized because it can affect my duration. So I was quite happy with those. Let's bring the loop brace to the beginning. I just noticed here on my master I'm clipping, so I'm going to go to my trusty, there it is already selected. This is the Waves L2 master limiter, so that's actually capturing the level, and that's just a little safety net thing whilst I'm working here. I don't always recommend putting limiters on whilst you're working. Okay, let me see the length of the clip. Okay, it's 8 bars. Let me just try something here. 7 bars. No, do you know what? That's not working because it's almost like there's a resolution in terms of the pattern. So you can see it's over 2 bars that pattern kind of resolves itself. So it's not going to work with the shorter bar length on there. But sometimes it's quite nice to experiment with that. Okay, look, I'm going to go with that. Now, I'll tell you one of the things I like about this particular instrument patch is this. If we use the oscillators up here, we can get this real nice kind of slightly more aggressive tone coming out. And in order to make all that sound a bit more interesting, I'm going to use delay, but I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to drop in on the audio effects, the ping pong delay. If you're using a return track, always take your dry wet mix to 100% wet, and I'm going to reduce the feedback, that's the amount of echoes. Let's have a listen now. So too much going on there. Let me get the other earbud in. It's quite nice with a smaller amount of level send on there. And let's experiment with that texture again. So that's something that I could do later on, just to add a little bit of variation. So we're going to say here bass 1. Just going to call that bass. And I want to just get this moving a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a duplicate here. Also, the other thing is it's feeling a little bit slow, so I'm going to pick up the tempo, maybe about 129 on there. So I'm going to switch to the second scene here. This is what I'm going to build up. I'm going to build up the beats here, maybe a clap over here, and ride. It's all a bit loud at the moment. I'm going to adjust these in a minute. Let's open up the drum rack. You know what it is with the ride there, I'm not really feeling that. It feels a little bit too robotic. So if I take off the others and literally on the beat, I'm going to add a delay to fill in the gaps. Let me take the dry wet mix down. Yeah, look at that. It sounds great. So in a way, it's replicating what I was doing with the on and the off beat, but it's doing so as a filtered version. Maybe too many echoes on there. Let's bring the feedback down. Just got a mad status message about a birthday coming through, so you could ignore that. Let's close that. Right, so let's take the solo off. Now the clap. So the clap needs some space. Let's get the reverb. Let's drop it in as an insert on there. So literally just on this clap. Let's take the dry wet mix down a bit. Okay, let's make the reverb, the decay time bigger. Bring the dry wet mix down a bit. Got a real nice sense of space around it. Probably too loud. Whilst I'm here, tell you what, I'm just going to bring in this this new glue compressor. Just get it bounce a bit. Put it to the left of the limiter. Let's bring the threshold down a touch. Just going to leave it at default settings. I quite like the vibe there. It's pulling it down a bit. Going to bring the makeup gain up a touch. See how it's hitting into the limiter. Not much at the moment. That's good. Right, that's cool. Tell you what, I want to add some flavour already. You know, I feel like we need to add this vintage vibe, and you know, I use this Nomad magnetic quite a lot. This is going to add some real tape saturation, make it sound older. Going to take the real speed up so it's not taking away the highs. So it's on dash. Switch tube to tape and keep the vintage on there. Oh man, do you hear that? If you've got a good system, that tape saturation is adding so much to the kick particularly and the rides. Now the vintage is really kind of wearing the tape out. That was a bit too much earlier. I think I like how that's sounding. I'm just going to try a bit of this boost. Right, that's sounding great. But that's before and then after. So it's really getting a nice vibe there. Do you know what? I don't even know if this is really sounding like proper Detroit, but it's got a vibe to it, that's for sure. I need some kind of sustained string sound. You know, back in the day they may have used the Korg M1, so I'm going to bring that in. Potentially they could have used the Korg Wave Station as well. You know, some of these were around in those days. So I'm going to bring this through, and the Korg M1 is a workstation, tons of sounds on here. I'm looking for a high string sound, a sustained string, a very popular sound back in those days. So I think bright string is one of the patches. In fact, let me take this higher. It could actually be that high string. Do you remember that kind of sound, that real piercing, cutting string sound they used to have back in the day? And let's see what we got. Okay, I'm playing 3 notes there. Creates that tension. You know, you used to hear that quite a lot in those old tunes. Okay. That's pretty heavy chord that. I'm going to record that in. Try and get my notes correct. Here we go. So some of you may be noticing, you know, I'm playing this stuff in on the keys. I quite often do this sort of stuff. If I don't have the MIDI keyboard handy, that's what I do. So I'm just going to quantize these. Actually, some of those were played a little bit late there. And let me extend these over. So that could be good. Let me just get that over here. Maybe 4 as a duration. Let's bring this over. And in fact, what I'm going to do is just trim these ones back too. In fact, this is a little bit hard to see what's going on, so I'm just increasing the zoom level there. Take these back a bit. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that kind of Detroit string kind of texture. Strings. Let me go back to the intro. And then I'm going to flip. There we go, strings again. I'm wondering about another instrument, I just got something in my head that's kind of appearing. I don't know what kind of a sound it is, to be honest. Let me go back to the instruments over here. Maybe it is another pluck, There was a simple pluck that could be quite good here. It was almost like a kind of arpeggiated little pluck that I could hear. Yeah, so if I get the arpeggiator up and running, maybe something along those kind of lines. Maybe I trigger it a bit more like that. Okay, let me just get one of those in there. Okay, let's take the high one off. Okay, maybe the sound's not quite right. Let me just come here. I might actually pick that same pluck sound, but it's higher up, so we should get away with that. It's a bit better. Maybe that needs to come down a little bit more though. Maybe that needs some delay as well. Let's have a look. Let me have a play around with that. Alright, what I'm going to do is make it move around a bit more. I'm going to bring in the auto pan, increase the amount, a little bit of movement left and right. I'm not even actually setting that to a grid or anything, so this is quite interesting. It's certainly got a little bit of a vibe on it. Let's bring that string back. I'm just going to try to bass at a lower octave as well. No, it's not working so well. So look, that's actually working quite nicely here. So yeah, look, I'm going to stop there because I just wanted to demonstrate a few little bits and pieces in the context of an example, and maybe that's something that I'll follow up and finish off at some time. I'm not sure, but you know how it is with my stuff. I don't have tons of time to finish all of these things off, but it's quite nice to just share little experiences and inspirations. I felt inspired to do something that was inspired by Detroit. It hasn't worked out precisely as I would have imagined, because you never know how these things are going to go, but I definitely like the flavour there, and I think it evokes a little bit of Detroit in there. So see what you think, give me some comments, etc., and maybe I'll finish it off sometime. I don't know, but anyway, that's it for the moment, and more videos soon.